Hi there, and welcome to a follow-up video on our hesitant pullback trade webinar. In this video, I'll talk about the indicators that we discussed in that webinar and how to call them in Bloodhound from Shark Indicators. Bloodhound is on here, and now I'll just go ahead and add the zero lag oscillator, the opening range, as well as the current day VWAP. And then here with the zero lag oscillator, we want to show the key retracement signals and secondary retracement signals. We'll turn off the momentum. And for the opening range, I'll go here with a custom going off exchange time here. And I will just use the 1 minute range. So I'm not showing the regular open or this opening range, which is referred to here. I'll just turn off those plots and then we can hit OK. I wanted to show you this feature where the opening range stops plotting. This is the new feature that we just added. So I'll set that to end at, say, 7 o'clock. Have a NASDAQ contract on here, so it's all referring to Central US time. And if you wanted to add the Asian 1 minute opening range, you would just add 2 additional instances of the opening range. So setting the Asian session here. So we have a little space between the Asian and European session. And then for the regular session, the US session, we can just go ahead and use the regular trading hours here and deselect the other plots. And so now we see that these 1 minute opening ranges have been added to the charts here. You can change the colors of these, of course, but for now I think we'll just go with the European session here, not to make this too complicated. EU session, using that as a directional filter here. Change the opacity a little bit on this, dial it back to 20. And then it's a little bit easier to see the plots here. So we'll just start here with the zero lag oscillator plots. You can also put this all on one panel, give us a little bit more space. And we can start with the indicator comparison and just call the zero lag oscillator key signal. Locate the indicator here. And then you will have the data series long key retracement signal and short. Compare this with a fixed value and positive output for both long and short. Copy this for the secondary signals. Long retracement signal and short retracement signal. Create a new logic for this. Add the solvers that we just created and connect them via a OR node. And here we see we have the signals plotting here now as they should. So next thing we can do is to condition the signals to only occur when we're in this value area. So that would mean this one would qualify, whereas these two are outside the first standard deviation band, outside the VWAP value. And again, we'll go and use a indicator comparison. And this time we will use price as input A. For long, we will use the low. For short, we would use the high. And then we set here the current day VWAP as input B. And we want the low to be below the upper band and the high to be above the lower band. First standard deviation. Hit OK. And then we need to adjust these, of course. And so we name this above, below, first standard deviation. Add this to our logic here. And refresh. This is a multi-time frame indicator, so you have to refresh for this to output. And as we see here, it's not exactly the output that we're looking for. We just want to have outputs when we are within the value area. So we'll use a function node to specify that. It's the long short modifier. You set that to product. And by doing that, we now have a output for all the bars that are inside value or touching the value area. We see here the low of these bars are just below the upper standard deviation, and so we have a output, but these are not touching the value area, so excluded from outputs here. And then we can go ahead and connect these via a AND node. So we want signal and the signals to be within VWAP value. And we have the expected output for that here. Now, if we're looking at the opening range as a directional bias indicator comparison, this time we'll use just the close, above, below, 1 minute opening range, EU time. So reset these to close and grab the correct indicator here. 1 minute opening range high and low. And we want them to be, the close to be above, below those levels. One thing, of course, I did not specify here was the custom session, and that's very important to do, of course. So we have here the regular trading hours, set that to custom, and then custom session start is here. 1 o'clock in the morning exchange time. We're not using the opening range period here. As I said, we're just using the 1 minute high and low. Hit OK. And let's see what we have as an output for this. Also a multi-time frame indicator. So we need to refresh. Output above, long, and briefly a close below for a short output here. And so by connecting this with our logic, we should be able to eliminate those two short signals here, like so. And then in the webinar, we also discussed prior standard deviation bands, first standard deviation bands here. And so we can also use that as a bias. The current day VWAP, yesterday's value area high and low levels here. So here we have break to the downside of yesterday's value area low for a short bias. And we also have the opening range as a bias. I think I would just go with one of these two. I think I'll just go with the European Open here for simplicity reasons and just keep it like that. The signals that are plotting within the current day value here and the bias from the 1 minute opening range with the signals from the zero lag oscillator. Very simple strategy concept here with the pullbacks. I've just used the default settings of the zero lag oscillator. I mentioned that you have a few options to customize the signals. You can set the threshold levels as you want. The efficiency ratios here, you can activate the chop filter. That way you will only have signals on red or green zero lines, no signals allowed on choppy markets if you activate this. And then you also have the key retracement signals here, a range filter, trust bar filter, momentum filter, and divergence. Those have been activated for the secondary retracement signals, so a little bit more restrictive in the signals that we take after the first key signal has plotted. So you can play around with those if you like. Just remember to change any settings that you make on the chart in the strategy as well. Otherwise, there will be a mismatch between what you have on the chart and what you have in your strategy output. All right, so that's the first tutorial video. Coming up here, we'll have a look at how you can test this and create some rules for trade management. I'll see you on the other side. Take care and bye-bye.